The lights go out. Then comes the sound of the explosion. Then the scream. Thomas Brennan falls from 40 feet high. His body separates from the electrical pole, spins in the air, hits the ground. But the scream doesn't come from him. The scream comes from the crew standing 50 meters away. Thomas isn't screaming, because the 15,000-volt electrical shock killed him instantly. February 3, 1970. Durango, Mexico. Filming continues on Chisum. John Wayne is the lead. Warner Brothers Studio. $4 million budget. Thomas Brennan, 42 years old, electrician. Responsible for set lighting. He's been doing this work for 18 years. His wife Margaret, 40 years old. 4 children, ages 7, 9, 12 and 14. And a 5th child on the way. Margaret is 4 months pregnant. This morning at breakfast, Thomas told his wife, "When this film is done, we're going home. I won't miss the baby's birth." But Thomas won't be going home. Because at 2:43 p.m., an electrical cable will be connected wrong. Thomas will notice it. He'll try to fix it. And 15,000 volts will kill him. John Wayne was on set 30 minutes before shooting. Getting into costume. He heard the explosion. He heard the screams. He ran. He saw Thomas. On the ground. Motionless. Smoke rising from his body. Clothes burned. Hands turned black. Paramedics arrived. Checked for pulse. Checked for breathing. Nothing. Thomas Brennan is dead. Instantly. Without suffering. But that's no consolation for his wife and 4 children and unborn baby. Wayne stood there. Watched. His hands in fists. His jaw clenched. But he didn't move. Didn't speak. Just watched. Because what could he say? A man died. For Warner Brothers. For a John Wayne film. For a $4 million budget. A man died and his wife is now a widow. 4 children orphaned. A baby will never know its father. Production shut down. No filming that day. The crew was sent back to the hotel. Nobody talked. What was there to talk about? February 4, 1970. The next day, Margaret Brennan is at her home in Los Angeles. The phone rings. An executive from Warner Brothers. "Mrs. Brennan, we're so sorry about your husband. Thomas was a valued crew member. Margaret is crying. She didn't sleep last night. Hasn't eaten. She doesn't know how to tell her children. How will she explain to the baby in her womb? Will she say, 'Your father died before seeing you. As a studio, we'd like to offer you compensation.' Margaret is listening. There's hope. Maybe the studio will help. Maybe she can pay the mortgage. Maybe she can feed her children. $7,500. Silence. Mrs. Brennan, are you there? $7,500. Yes. It's a generous offer. Thomas knew the risks. This isn't a liability situation. The studio is offering this out of goodwill. Margaret is calculating. $7,500. The mortgage is $120 a month. Food, clothes, bills, 4 children, pregnancy expenses, birth expenses. $7,500 might last 2 years. Then what? There's one condition. Condition. If you sign, you cannot make any claims against the studio. You cannot sue. You cannot speak to the press. This agreement must remain confidential. Margaret's hand is shaking. You have 48 hours to decide, Mrs. Brennan. Otherwise the offer expires. The phone hangs up. Margaret is sitting at the kitchen table. Her 4 children are sleeping upstairs. Their father is dead, but they don't fully understand yet. How could they? Their father ate breakfast yesterday morning. Now he's gone. Margaret puts her hand on her belly. The baby isn't moving yet, but it's there, growing. It will be born in a few months, and it won't have a father. $7,500. Thomas's life, 18 years of work, 5 children, a widow, $7,500. Margaret is crying, but she'll sign, because she has no other choice. John Wayne is in his hotel room in Durango. Couldn't sleep. Every time his eyes close, he sees Thomas, falling from the electrical pole, hitting the ground. That man died for Wayne. For a film. For a cowboy game. 6 a.m. Wayne picks up the phone, calls his own lawyer. What did Warner Brothers offer Thomas Brennan's widow? I don't know, Duke. Let me check. An hour later, the lawyer calls back. $7,500. Standard offer. Accidental death, no liability. Wayne is silent. Duke, are you there? Thomas left behind 4 children, and his wife is pregnant. 5th child on the way. I know, it's tragic. $7,500 isn't enough. That family will be destroyed. Duke, this is the studio's policy. They're not legally required to pay more. Wayne hangs up the phone. He calls his business manager. How much cash can I access today? How much do you need? $100,000. Silence. Duke, that's a very large amount. How much cash can I access? I can arrange it in a few days. I want it today. February 6, 1970. 2 days later. Margaret Brennan is sitting at the kitchen table. The compensation documents are in front of her. She hasn't signed yet. But today is the last day. If she signs, she gets $7,500. If she doesn't sign, nothing. The door knocks. Margaret opens it. John Wayne is standing in front of her. She recognizes him. Everyone does, but she doesn't understand why he's here. Mrs. Brennan, I'm John Wayne. I need to talk to you about Thomas. Margaret lets him in. Wayne sits at the same kitchen table, where the studio lawyer sat. But Wayne doesn't pull out papers. He just looks at Margaret. I'm so sorry about Thomas. He was a good man. Margaret nods. She can't speak. If she speaks, she'll cry. I heard about the studio's offer. $7,500. That's an insult. Margaret's eyes fill with tears. I don't know what to do. I need the money. But if I sign, it's like saying Thomas was only worth $7,500. Wayne pulls an envelope from his pocket, places it on the table. This is $100,000. From me. Not from the studio. For you and your children. Margaret looks at the envelope. Can't process what she's hearing. I can't accept this. Yes, you can. Thomas died making my film. He died installing my lights. This is my responsibility. Mr. Wayne, you don't owe me anything. Yes, I do. Thomas died for me. The least I can do is take care of the family he left behind. But Wayne isn't finished. He pulls out a business card. Writes a phone number on it. This is the studio head's direct line. I'm calling him today. Warner Brothers is going to set up a lifetime monthly stipend for you. $400 a month. And they're going to create college funds for your 5 children. Full scholarship. They can go wherever they want. Margaret is crying now. Why would they do that? Wayne's jaw tightens. Because I'm going to tell them. If they don't, I'm walking off every film I owe them. And I'll tell every newspaper in America why. Wayne calls the studio head that afternoon. The conversation lasts 45 minutes. Wayne doesn't yell, doesn't threaten, just lays out the facts. Thomas Brennan died making a Warner Brothers film. He left behind a widow and 4 children. 5th child on the way. The studio offered $7,500. That's unacceptable. The studio head tries to explain. Liability, insurance, standard practice. Wayne cuts him off. I don't care about standard practice. I care about right and wrong. Thomas died working for you. His family deserves better than $7,500. What do you want, Duke? $400 a month for Margaret for life. And college funds for the kids. All 5 of them. Full scholarships. That's going to cost us a fortune. I know what it costs. Do it anyway. Or I walk. From everything. Rio Lobo. Big Jake. Everything. I'm done. Silence on the line. The studio head is calculating. John Wayne is Warner Brothers' biggest star. His films make millions. Losing him would cost more than a lifetime stipend for one widow. Fine. We'll do it. I want it in writing. Contract. Legal. So nobody can take it back after I'm gone. You'll have it by Monday. Wayne hangs up. Leans back in his chair. It's not enough. Nothing can bring Thomas back. But at least the kids can go to college. At least Margaret won't lose her house. At least the studio can't claim Thomas didn't matter. Margaret Brennan receives her first monthly check 8 weeks later. It keeps coming like clockwork. The mortgage is $120,000. The monthly payment covers most of it. Wayne's $100,000 covers the rest. Food, clothes, bills. The needs of 4 children and the baby on the way. In June 1970, the baby is born. A boy. She names him Thomas. Like his father. Little Thomas never knows his father. But his mother tells him every day, your father was a hero. He worked for his family. And when he died, another hero came and took care of us. Margaret never remarries. Doesn't want to. Thomas was her person. She raises the children alone, does part-time hairdressing, takes the stipend every month, and never takes it for granted. Every check reminds her that someone fought for her family. When the system wanted to forget them, someone cared. All 5 children go to college. The oldest son becomes an engineer. The second becomes a teacher. The third becomes a nurse. The fourth becomes a lawyer. And little Thomas? He becomes a doctor, a cardiologist, saves hearts. Just like John Wayne saved his family's heart. Warner Brothers pays for all their educations. Because John Wayne forced them to. Margaret receives that stipend for 32 years, until she dies in 2002, at 72 years old. 32 years times $400 a month. That's $153,600. Plus Wayne's $100,000. Plus 5 college educations. That's the real value of Thomas Brennan's life. Not $7,500. Not an insult and a deadline. A lifetime of dignity for the family he left behind. In 2008, Margaret's daughter writes a letter to the John Wayne family. Her name is Jennifer Brennan. She's 46 years old now, a nurse in Seattle. She writes about her father, about the day he died, about the studio lawyer who offered $7,500, about John Wayne coming to their kitchen table. My mother received that stipend until the day she died. For 32 years, every month, we went to college because of it. We kept our home because of it. My mother kept her dignity because someone fought for her when she had no fight left. Duke didn't know us. We were strangers. But he saw my mother's pain and decided it mattered. He used his power to force a studio to do the right thing. Not because he had to, because he chose to. My father died making movies, but John Wayne made sure we didn't die with him. I teach my patients about power and how people use it. I tell them about the day a movie star walked away from the red carpet to fight for a widow. That's how you measure a man. Not by what he has, but by what he gives to people who can't give back. Duke is our hero. Forever. The letter is now in the John Wayne Museum, next to Thomas Brennan's photograph. Next to the settlement papers Warner Brothers wanted Margaret to sign. Next to Wayne's personal check. But the story doesn't end here. Because in 2015, little Thomas Brennan, the baby who never knew his father, now 45 years old, a cardiologist, is working at a hospital in Los Angeles. One day, a 78-year-old man is brought to the hospital. Heart attack, critical condition. Thomas goes into surgery, a 6-hour operation, complex, dangerous. But Thomas succeeds. He saves the man's life. 2 days later, the man wakes up. Thomas enters his room. How are you feeling? The man smiles. I'm alive. I'm grateful to you, Dr. Brennan. Dr. Thomas Brennan. The man stops. Brennan. That name sounds familiar. My father was Thomas Brennan. He died on a film set in 1970. He was an electrician. The man's face changes. Wait, on the set of Chisum? Yes. Did you know him? The man's eyes fill with tears. I was there that day. I was the assistant director. I was there when the accident happened. Thomas freezes. Your father was a good man. We were all devastated. Thomas sits down. John Wayne helped my mother. Do you know about that? Yes. Duke was my hero. He wasn't just an actor. He was a real human being. Thomas nods. That's why I'm a doctor. My mother always told us. Duke saved lives. He saved our lives. You save other people's lives too. The 2 men sit there, both crying. One was there in 1970. The other wasn't born yet. But both are living the echo of what John Wayne did. In 2019, Thomas Brennan gives a TED Talk. The topic, Power and Responsibility. He tells his father's story, the accident, the $7,500 offer, John Wayne, the stipend, the college funds. My father's employer offered him $7,500. But a stranger, a movie star, came and said, that's not enough. That stranger didn't just give money. He changed the system. He showed a studio its responsibility. And because of that stranger, I'm here today. A doctor, saving lives. Because of that stranger, my sisters and brother are here. Engineer, teacher, nurse, lawyer. One person's kindness changed 5 people's lives. And those 5 people changed thousands of people's lives. I've performed over 2,000 heart surgeries. 2,000 people are alive today because a movie star did the right thing in 1970. This is the ripple effect. One act of kindness creates waves. And those waves spread forever. The speech goes viral. 5 million views. Thousands of comments. And in one of the comments, an 82-year-old man writes, I was on set that day. I was the assistant director. I watched Duke. I never saw anyone like him. He was a true hero. Thomas replies, I was the one who saved your life. In 2015, you came to the hospital with a heart attack. Do you remember? The man replies, yes. That was you. My God. The circle closes. John Wayne died in 1979. Cancer, 72 years old. Margaret Brennan was at the funeral. With her 5 children, she left a note on his casket. Duke, you gave me strength. You gave my children a future. You gave my family dignity. You did the right thing. When no one was watching. Forever grateful. Margaret. Today, Dr. Thomas Brennan is still working, 55 years old, cardiologist in Los Angeles. In his office there's a photograph of his father, whom he never met, and next to it, another photograph of John Wayne. Every morning he looks at those photographs and reminds himself, power is responsibility. Fame and wealth are meaningless unless you use them to help people.